Orihime Inoue is one of my favorite female characters. Ever since I started watching Bleach a long time ago, I was like, oh my god, Orihime Inoue is one of my favorite female characters. If I were to have a top 3 of female characters, she would definitely be in the top 3. But when it comes to adapting a manga into an anime, the studio that is adapting the manga does make some changes. It's usually not a one-to-one. It's some subtle changes that won't change the story drastically from the manga, from the original source material. But you're wondering, why am I talking about Orihime Inoue and adapting a manga into an anime? Well, if you've seen this post, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But for those who don't know, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this post right here. Anime Orihime versus manga Orihime. Now, you probably have seen this post. Some of you people have, some of you people haven't. But I'm going to be explaining this post for people who have never seen it. Now, I'm going to start off with the manga Orihime right here. She says Kurosaki-kun 170 times. In comparison, Ichigo says her name 140 times. But the anime Orihime says Kurosaki-kun 280 times with only canon episodes. And this is not including Thousand Year Blood War, no. This is only talking about the 366 episode Bleach. So if we look here, she says Kurosaki-kun 170 times in the manga, but in the anime 280 times, which is damn near 2 times the amount that she says it. If you divide 280 by 2, you get 140, which is the same amount Ichigo says her name, probably only in the manga. There is a big difference in when she says it in the manga and in the anime. Now the next one is that the third character with the most amount of screen time in the manga, but in the anime they cut or change many of her scenes for the worse. So they usually give her some of the shittiest fucking scenes in the anime, and when I've looked back in the anime, Jesus Christ, it's really fucking terrible. Well, it's not really terrible, but it's just really bad. Like, what was the point of even changing her character in the first place? If she has the third most amount of screen time in the manga, why aren't you giving her deserved screen time? I thought you're supposed to be doing damn near a one-on-one adaptation of the manga. Another one is where her backstory was changed. See, I watched the Bleach anime first. I didn't read the manga up until I caught up to Core 3 of A Thousand Year Blood War. I was like, let me see what the Bleach manga had to offer, and that's what I did. I reread Bleach, or rewatched it, or whatever, and then I saw that Orihime's backstory is a lot different compared to when I read it or watched it in the anime. See, in the anime, her parents were bad, which is why her brother ran away from home with her, and sometime later her brother died in an accident. That's what people saw when you watched the anime. But if you're someone who has watched the anime and read the manga and know what actually happened, see, her backstory, her mom was a little bit of a bad person, someone who sells their body for money and whatnot, and their father was, an alcoholic. He would beat Orihime when she was a baby until she stopped crying. Then her brother ran away from home with her, and he died in an accident. She had to carry her brother's dead body to the clinic, which was most likely Kurosaki Clinic, if I can remember correctly. See, that's what originally happened, but then, probably due to censorship and whatnot, and all this stupid stuff, they had to change her backstory. Now, I don't know why they couldn't change some of the things of, who, Orihime's mother was, or who Orihime's father was. It seems they completely cut that out. Like, they could have changed some of the things. Orihime's mother couldn't have been this, or her father couldn't have been this. They could have been something completely different, or something different but kind of resembles the original thing and keeps the story going straight, kind of like the manga. But it seems that Studio Period did not care. Now, in the anime, when Rukia is being taken back to the Soul Society before the Soul Society arc starts, in the anime, she tells Ichigo that maybe he shouldn't save Rukia. In the manga, she supports the idea of saving Rukia and encourages Ichigo to do it. Because I did go back into the chapter earlier earlier today, and I was like, let me see if this is even true. And it is true. In like chapter 58, I believe, Ichigo and Orihime are talking about it, and Orihime tells Ichigo, you should go save her. I encourage you, you go do that, because she doesn't want her friend dead, okay? But I don't know if I don't remember clearly what happens in the anime. Now, the next one is she doesn't understand what's happening to Ichigo. Now, I don't know why, but dude, the main reason on Orihime's character, like when it comes to romance, she really loves fucking Ichigo. Now, the way I said that shit kind of sounds wrong, but you basically get the point. She loves Ichigo, but she doesn't understand what's happening to Ichigo. But in the manga, she's the only one of all of the classmates who realizes that Ichigo isn't okay. Like, dude, what is this? I don't know why Studio Period made Orihime's character so oblivious, so stupid. Like, I don't understand. She's not meant to be this dumb. Like, Orihime in the manga is smarter than she is in the anime. And then when you combine all of this, you get anime Orihime. You get the worst version of Orihime. The author wrote Orihime like this and was probably hoping for Orihime to have the same type of portrayal in the anime. Now, I heard there was reports a long time ago when the author of Bleach, Kubo, when he was actually watching the first couple of episodes of Bleach, I heard that this dude was going to puke on how bad this shit was, because I think it was more of centering Rukia and Ichigo to have like a little romance thing. Like, that's not what was happening. They were supposed to be bros. They supposed to be homeboy and homegirl. But it seems that Studio Period wanted them to be together, I guess. But it's just really sad to see, one of my favorite female characters be butchered like this. I'm hoping she's getting a better portrayal in the 1,000-Year Blood War, which she is. And I'm hoping in Core 4, she has a better portrayal, because I haven't watched that movie, and I haven't watched the first episode of Core 4. So, I'm gonna have to watch that to see if she's getting better. But other than that, I just want to talk about my favorite female character. I think she's better than Nami or Robin and whatnot, all those other female characters. I think she's better, but I think she could have been better in the anime. And do I also think Bleach deserves a remake? It deserves a remake that stays true to the original source material that Kubo wrote. Because I want to see Orihime in a better light with better animation, low-key. Better animation for the original Bleach, let's be honest. But other than that, that's all I gotta say about my favorite female character. Hope she's doing good in Core 4.